Greetings nerdy list aficionados and welcome back to Top 10 Nerd. The powers, you want to hear about them, we are happy to oblige. Today we're chatting restrictions. Powers aren't unlimited and sometimes what causes them to either stop working completely or how they need to be implemented can range from amusing to bizarre. Some of my favorite things to talk about. Also, you know, darkness. I'm Sasha and these are the top 10 superheroes with weird power restrictions part 2. Let's get started. Also, we're gonna have some fun and hop around the timeline. So some of these restrictions have been taken off, but they existed at one point and we'll never forget. Number 10. Thor, aka Donald Blake. So this is a classic weakness and involves his hammer, from the early days of Thor, and it was part of Thor's punishment. So back when Thor first debuted in 1962, he was cast down into the body of Donald Blake, without his memories, but his hammer was cast down too in disguise as a walking stick. And when Blake picks it up and strikes it down, he becomes Thor. It was later retconned that Thor and Daniel Blake were always the same person, which was definitely necessary because if not, it would have been some Castiel level terrifyingness. Here's the thing, initially if the God of Thunder was separated from his hammer for more than 60 seconds, he turned back into Donald Blake. Also, if we were early enough, he also forgot he was Thor. Those fights must have been really awkward. But for the most part, it was just a weakness to place his foes on a more level playing field against a god. Yeah, the 80s and Simonson's run really revolutionized the character by finding the perfect balance of Earth shenanigans and godly happenings for Thor. In my opinion, the Asgard stuff for Thor is way more interesting. It's better than him just hanging out with us lowly mortals. I do that every day. I want to read about something else. Number 9. Green Lanterns and the color yellow. Going back in time once more to Green Lantern and the Silver Age, we're leaving Alan Scott alone and talking about Hal Jordan and beyond. That is until the whole Parallax thing retconned it. Well, it started earlier actually with the destruction of the central power battery and Kyle becoming Ion, and it was a whole thing. Then it became, oh, it's an imperfection. Long story short, it just felt like they were embarrassed by this weakness and wanted to make it cool. I loved the yellow weakness, so the rings just wouldn't work on anything yellow colored, and that involved Hal's force field. There are some great Hal getting knocked out by yellow objects panels, like people throwing lamps at him, that time from the actually really sad arc where he knocked himself out in a yellow sign and then the story was called The Sign. And then there was the more modern and meme-tastic yet awful All-Star Batman and Robin, where Batman painted an entire room, everything in it, himself and Robin yellow, so that Hal had no recourse. It was glorious. Now new recruits start off not being able to affect yellow, but with training they can overcome. No, give me ridiculous restrictions. They already increased how long it holds a charge. Let me have this. And while you're at it, give me Clumsy Hal. I want the Hal who knocked himself unconscious by slipping on a bar of soap while getting out of the shower. That's my Hal. Number 8. Pureheart. Pureheart the Powerful comes from Archie Comics, and we talked about him recently in our Powers No One Understands series, which if you haven't checked it out yet, please do so after this. So Archie Comics had, and now as of 2019 once more does have, runs where an Archie and the gang are superheroes. Archie is Pureheart, a hero operating off of his pH level, or his pure heart level. So if he has any impure thoughts, even just one, for a blip, power's gone. What makes this restriction odd isn't that component, because plenty of heroes have emotion or thought affected powers. No, it's the question, what exactly is pure? The examples in the comics are things like him accepting a kiss on the cheek from someone who is grateful for being rescued. He didn't ask for it, they gave it. So is accepting gratitude impure? What kind of standards does Archie have to hold himself to? It's too much. Also, he can't get jealous, and we know Archie, that's just not possible for him. Number 7. Winged Victory. Astro City. I'm getting it on more and more lists. I'm playing the long game. I will get my Astro City video. Winged Victory first appeared in Astro City number 2 back in 1995, and she's really interesting. She is a deconstruction of Wonder Woman, and her powers are granted to her by the Council of Nike, which is a group of successful women who have overcome adversity and sought to empower an ordinary woman with the ability to be a hero and create a difference. The only thing is that over time their feminist ideals have become warped to an extreme, to the point where they only want Winged Victory saving women. At crime scenes or disasters, she's supposed to save the woman first, and they threaten her with being depowered when she starts to ask questions about this. They also strongly disapprove of her relationship with the Samaritan, even though he is always respectful and never barges in or assumes she can't do something, and stands back during interviews, not only so the council doesn't get mad at her and think that he's trying to take credit, but also because he has no time. Seriously, it's sad how little time he has. His big dream in life is to have like 1 hour so he can go and fly around by himself. So Winged Victory, she needs to make sure she keeps the council happy. Though in more modern issues they have mellowed, kinda. Especially as Winged Victory is a passionate advocate for their cause, championing, and I quote, political, legal, and social emancipation of women. Astro City is interesting, read it. Please. Number 6. North Star and Aurora. They're both members of Alpha Flight, the state-funded Canadian superhero team. Which, to be honest, if we really had a superhero team, it would totally be state-funded. We would really have Alpha Flight. We have an alien landing pad. So when these two first debuted, their powers were tied together. So they had to be together in physical contact, like holding hands to operate. However, that was quickly modified, so they had to stay in proximity and touch occasionally, like a high five. And nowadays, it's just a boost. If they're in contact, they get an extra boost. Can you imagine having to take your siblings with you crime fighting, even if they had powers, all the time? It would be so irritating, even if you liked them, all the time. Number 5. Rogue. Okay, seriously, think about it. And it's not even the whole she can't touch people thing, because that's not a restriction, that's how her powers work. What the restriction is that she can't use them to their full potential. Rogue first debuted in Avengers Annual number 10 back in 1981, and was initially a villain. In fact, how she gained her super strength and flight was through a confrontation with Ms. Marvel, wherein she held on to her for too long. Because of this, she absorbed her power permanently, and also elements of her personality, and Ms. Marvel was left in a coma for a while, and as for Rogue, it began to drive her insane. And Professor X had to help her untangle her mind. If Rogue holds on too long, she could find herself completely subsumed, which was played with in the recent Infinity War lead-up tie-in wibbly wobbly timey-wimey stuff, wherein in another universe, Rogue had held on to Captain Marvel for so long their powers and personalities had just fully swapped. So she needs to be careful. We're a timer maybe. Number 4. Captain Britain. Captain Britain first debuted in Captain Britain number 1 back in 1976. Brian Braddock boasts a wide array of powers that were initially mystical. Also, Psylocke is his sister, his twin sister actually, and oh boy, the history there. Yikes. So modern Captain Britain has a similar restriction to Pureheart, only his is self-esteem. His power level is dependent on how he feels about himself. And, I quote, "The limits of Captain Britain's powers are now tied into his emotions. So if he's feeling very determined and confident, then he's very powerful. But if he's losing it, then he'll really be losing it. He's as strong as he used to be, and he can fly, and that's all due to his magical nature, not to his costume. So I guess we can all just boo him from the sidelines, and that's that." Number 3. Longshot. Longshot first appeared in Longshot number 1 back in 1985. He's another Marvel character with luck powers. There's a lot of those running around. Unlike most, Longshot's is centered around good luck for himself rather than bad luck for other people. I mean, Domino's kind of work that way, but hers are more that she's psionically subconsciously affecting her environment and upping her skills. So the thing with Longshot's good luck is that it's impacted by the positive aspects of his personality, and it's also tied a bit to his actions, because I guess some writers had a hard time with the just personality bit. Because it is a little vague, like sometimes if he does bad things it will affect his luck, but that's not a personality trait, but I digress. So no bad days for Longshot. It's not allowed, because if so, he's going down in a fight hard. What will happen is his powers will either shut down entirely, or they'll backfire and cause him bad luck. Here's the thing, for someone who's used to having good luck all the time, suddenly having no luck must feel like bad luck. You get me. Number 2. You Go Girl. She first appeared in X-Force number 116, but most will know her from the X-Static series, as they spun off from their appearance in X-Force where they were meant to be a media-friendly version of the team, only for the real X-Force to return the next issue with the heading The Real X-Force. You Go Girl is Edie Sawyer, and her power was teleportation, the good kind too, the long distance let's just go and we're not going to end up in the middle of a wall kind. The only problem is it left her exhausted, to the point where she needs to take stimulants to function. Had to. She died. Not from that though, it was from something else. An alien killed her. She actually had to take these stimulants while using her powers. So if she didn't have them, you're not going anywhere. Or well, you're not going far. Number 1. Larfleeze. Yes, Larfleeze, and yes, he counts. Larfleeze is the Orange Lantern. Yes, that's singular. There's only one. He first debuted in Green Lantern Volume 4, number 25 back in 2007, and played a decent sized portion in the Blackest Night event, and has since made the leap over to the New 52 and Rebirth. Larfleeze has all the powers of lanterns, the constructs, etc. However, orange in the emotional spectrum is the color for avarice, so he hoards all the rings and just clutches his power battery rather than having a lantern chant. You know, their charge up pep talk. I'm gonna do it without looking at the camera. In brightest day, in blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. Let those who worship evil's might beware my power. Green Lantern's light. I'm a nerd. His creed instead is just mine. Larfleeze would undoubtedly be more heroic if his natural inclinations towards greed weren't being increased by the power battery. His very source of power is his restriction. Sad. A tragedy. And those were 10 more heroes with weird power restrictions. It's always fun to talk about these little character quirks. Let us know who we missed and who we should talk about down below. And while you're down there, like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notifications so that you never miss another video. I'm Sasha, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you again soon. Bye bye.